He's whiny.
Yeah, like he sounds like such a bitch. It's so retarded that like these are like actual legitimate market theses. Like you're gonna be getting a text from like a mom who's really plugged in like 6 months saying like, what do you think of the kangaroo coin thesis?
And you're like,
you're going to like, it's not going to be so stupid that you throw your phone across the room. It's going to be something that you understand and you're going to have an answer.
Actually, a real opinion. Like, kangaroos, maybe. Marsupials are doing pretty well overall, but I don't know how I feel about kangaroos.
Like when people talk about like Mog leading the cat coin thesis, I'm just like, this is going to get so much worse.
I do forget that Mog is a cat coin.
Yeah, well, that's the other fun thing is like people made all these cat coins. Like, when Mew took off, and people were talking about like cat coins as a thing, and the Mog boys were like, little do they know, like
we invented cat coins.
Yeah, like we have the secret winner cat coin here.
They're actually clutch for that one because it doesn't register in my brain as a cat coin, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, and it's because it goes for the exact opposite energy of all other cat coins.
Do you know when they do the fantasy payouts? Like what day of the week? I'm buying a computer. I don't care.
I think it's the 24th.
The 24th? Oh, Friday?
Yeah.
I'm buying a computer. I've been waiting too long.
I donated all my shit to my my card.
I'll probably do that for the next one, but the first one, I need a computer. And
well, I think my card, like I think I can just sell it for more than.
You can sell. Oh, actually, that's a good point. You can't sell your legendary one that they made it soul bound, but you can sell.
No, but I think my rare I think my epic and my rare and my 5 commons are going to be worth substantially more than the like 4 Ethereum that they were giving me.
Oh, for sure, yeah. If you especially if you do all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even need those anymore once you get the soul bound legendary that they're giving out to everyone.
Correct.
So like, fuck it, like sell them. I will be. I mean, I didn't do it this time, and I want the computer, but I'll tell because I want to do. I'm running out of RAM, not RAM. On this fucking MacBook Air here, it can only do so much. I should not be. I gotta say, I fucking hate Windows so goddamn much. I do too. I do hate Windows.
Windows 11 is the biggest piece of shit. And like it stopped crashing all the time, which is great because that lets me know it wasn't like a hardware issue. My computer hasn't crashed randomly for like 3 weeks now. I don't know what fixed it. But it just doesn't randomly crash, which is great. But it's like, that's like the bare minimum problem. Like Edge browser still randomly just like will freeze so hard that like Task Manager can't even close it, and it like destroys the entire system. And it doesn't like it doesn't crash technically, like it doesn't turn off, but everything becomes unresponsive, right? So it like freezes up, and it's like, well, okay, you're not crashed, so I'm congratulating you, but it's like, what is the difference really between this and a crash? Like this is actually worse because you're wasting my time because I'm sitting here waiting for it to recover, and it just never does.
I haven't liked Windows since Windows 7. I've been very vehemently against Windows.
Windows 10 was fine, man.
10 was okay, but like I don't like there's a reason why I'd rather deal with bullshit with Linux distros. But the only reason why I'm getting a fucking computer is so I can use the basic shit that like they won't put on Mac and da 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 da. So I have to use Windows. Which is painful for me, but I have to.
Well, Mac is starting to piss me off too. Like every operating system feels like it's getting worse.
It definitely is getting worse because they don't have an incentive to do shit.
I just don't understand how like everything can go to garbage.
The Linux distros are getting better. Funny, like they're so usable and like
like I was gonna say now. Like when I fucking built up my home server, I was like, oh my god,
this is good now. They're. But unfortunately, like, I mean, every once in a while, you're going to have the thing that happens with every Linux distro where like something breaks and you have no idea how it broke and you have to like go through all the forums and hope for the best. But on 99.9% of the time, unless you have a critical failure, they are just better. But what's the point of me even getting a fucking nice computer if I have to
because
use,
I can't use Adobe Premiere Pro on my fucking
exactly,
on my Linux machine.
which is,
I mean,
you
can actually, but it's like you have to be so autistic.
Yeah,
like in order to
exactly.
understand what like packages and fucking drivers to download to use this stuff on Linux, it's like I have to dedicate my entire life to using a Linux operating system.
Yeah, unless I could do like, and like unless I could like start writing out bash like commands with the kernels and from memory, like off the top of my head, then like you can't do all that shit.
Yeah.
Like I have to look for the lines on whatever Stack Exchange. So I'm not about that life. But whatever, I have to get a computer, so I'm gonna get it with this payout, and then I will likely be giving out most, if not all, of the things to the holders after that. But my computer it's good, and like I appreciate how well it runs, but it is not built to be making videos all the time. And if we're going to be doing video now, I need to just like do the purchase.
Nothing is built for videos.
True. There's nothing built.
You're like, oh, Windows. I have to get Windows so I can make, and then you get Windows, and then it just crashes all the time, and it sucks cock. And it has a default browser called Edge that, despite running Chromium, somehow has worse memory leaks than everything that has ever been developed by Google, which is not good software either. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on with software.
It's definitely not good. But the thing is, like, as long as I can have a dedicated computer for it, I'm just like, all right, you do that. Even if it takes you a fucking day, I'll put you over here and you run that shit, and I'll go do something else on my laptop.
It's just so weird because like I have this computer that can like render out anything, and it's like, you know, it's not like a giga supercomputer, but it's a very good computer, and I use it to have 87 tabs open across 3 different browser profiles, and that appears to be impossible for it. Like I can render out 4K video in like 2 seconds, but the minute I try and have too many browser tabs open, and it's not even a RAM issue. Like I have like 128 gigs of RAM in this bitch. So like, and it doesn't use close to that.
No, this is telling you to stop being a degenerate and close your tabs. That's what it's telling you to do. I have a lot of tabs open right now, but like they're literally like different comic books I read weekly. So like they're not like updating regularly. They're just like a still image, and I refresh it when a new chapter comes out.
Mine aren't like updating that much, really. It's mostly that like I have, you know, if I'm gonna record like a different show, like this one I have it's just like a safe browser tab that I can pull up that doesn't have like my personal shit. And it has like charts or some bullshit in the back. And I have extra tabs in case I want to like Google a car or something.
Yeah, I have pin tabs for different charts, open tabs for different things I'm reading. And then I have like the last 3 are like things I'm actually using.
Yeah. So, but you know, they're not like high. And honestly, I said like 87 tabs, but it's like 5 or 6 tabs per browser. And there's like 1 or 2 usually. 3 in this unique case because I have our interns program pulled up also.
Yeah, for true. I mean, like I feel like that actually used to be what crashed my computer, my my Linux computer, having multiple windows with multiple tabs on it. And
really,
yeah, all the time. Like if my computer is gonna start like freeze, like do the little infinite pinwheel, is for that reason typically.
I think it's literally
I can run like fucking DaVinci with Audacity with all that shit simultaneously and be fine. But something about browsers are different.
I think it's literally that Edge browser is a piece of shit, but like I don't want to just switch to a different browser because I have all of my crypto plugins on this one, and the thought of having to go and enter my 37 seed phrases into the extensions on a new browser makes me want to kill myself.
Huh? But why did you use Edge to begin with?
It was just the default, dude. I still have the same exact background on my phone as when I bought it. Like the lock screen. Like I don't change this. I don't care.
Did you use Safari or Internet Explorer?
I don't think I used Internet Explorer, although the later iterations actually did get
Edge
good.
Is literally Internet Explorer.
I do use Safari, yeah.
Oh my god, you're one.
Safari,
you're one
dude.
Of those,
Safari is actually like 90 times better at energy use than every other.
I'm sure it's great at energy use, but it's fucking dog shit. Like, I mean, it's not like it's dog shit. It's just like, I'm just like, there's more functionality on other things, but you are low maintenance in that
It's
one way.
very fast, and it takes like your battery will last like 5 times longer if you use Safari unironically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that's
good to know.
That's why I say like that's what power management is. It's like it just doesn't use any energy. I don't know why.
Not
but it's
doing
like
it,
I think it's coded in
I'm not
Swift
doing it,
or
but I
something.
do appreciate that information.
Yeah.
If I'm ever put in a situation where I need to maximize the battery, I'm like in a fucking train or like I'm like, oh my god, I have to get this done before I can plug it in. I'll switch to Safari.
It's a good app.
It's all right.
It's a good app. Trust me. It's a great app.
I'm a Brave maxi, even though I'm annoyed by Brave because it's getting worse.
Hate Brave.
It's getting worse over time.
I'm gonna do a fucking open source privacy. Like it's always so bad and gay.
It was really good. It's definitely gotten a lot worse over time.
Yes.
But that's like all these things. I feel like
like every single I'm gonna make this epic new browser, and it's like okay, you can, and you'll have a brief period of like 6 to 12 months where it's good as a browser technically, and also private, right? And then it either becomes like an ad hosting spyware or it becomes very bad technically, right? Like it's the scaling problem where like you can't get to Google size without either selling out or becoming dog shit.
Yeah, I don't mind the ads that it has. I turn them off. But I don't mind like you start a new tab and it gives you ads there. I don't mind that. They're all crypto ads anyway. I do mind, however, that the fucking built-in wallet has got to the point of not being usable. Like it used to. The reason I got Brave originally, other than the fact that it like has the built-in ad block and spiral blocks and all that shit,
is because you didn't have to deal with the gayness of installing 67 wallets every time.
But now the internal wallet is so bad. Like to the like I genuinely cannot navigate it and do the things I want to do on it. So I had to switch. Now I have 85 fucking plugins for wallets, and that's annoying as shit. But it was cool. There was a couple years there from like 2019, 2018 to like 2021 or 2 where Brave was awesome and with the built-in wallet. Then they were like, let's update the UX and make it so that, like it's easier to navigate. And then like all of a sudden, like the high functionality, like the good, like the power user functionality was hidden. But you could still find it. But now it's like I genuinely cannot find half the shit I want to use. Like for example, if your transaction gets stuck in limbo forever, right?
This is what Windows 11 is like, by the way. If you've used every other Windows platform and then you go to Windows 11, they like tried to make it Mac, but they like fucked up and they created some sort of like crossbreed abomination where it's like it has all of the shittiness and crashiness of Windows, but with none of the options.
Oh,
so you're just like, why is this even crashing? Like it, and they've tried to roll it back, but they've done some like halfway piecemeal job. It's just so bad. So it's it's the Brave browser thing.
Yeah, where it's just like, like just to finish the point about there was the one reason I went to Brave originally is because if you had a failed transaction on Ethereum, it would just like kind of spiral forever, right? Because it gets stuck in the queue. But the thing that you could do, which is you can send a transaction to yourself and just change the nonce to the same nonce as the other transaction, and it would instant quit the transaction. And that was really helpful in DeFi Summer because there was no other way to do it. That became impossible. Now, fortunately, ETH is actually much easier to use now, but that became impossible on Brave. And I was like, why the fuck else am I even using this? And then it's like, oh, I can't find my fucking private keys anymore. I don't know how to switch chains and add RPCs. And it just is like, it's fucking just garbage now. I can barely even look at my whatever. It's too much. It just sucks. Now it's like user friendly, but user friendly means if you know what you're doing, you can't find anything. But I already know that Windows is like that, but I guess I'll have to just suck it up. And if I want to use the high performance machine, I suppose.
Nothing works anymore.
Nothing works anymore.
Everything is broken and it's over.
Everything's fucking broken. Nothing works. And not to mention, and everything's getting deleted. I was told if you put something on the internet, it'll be around forever. You can't even find anything on the internet anymore. All the websites are gone.
I posted on this one too. Yeah, like I mean, we've done this bit before too with like you know, our like the 9/11 shit. Like all of the 9/11 truther articles, they're gone. Ever since the dancing Israeli FOIA request was released, it's just totally. By the way, speaking of the dancing Israeli FOIA request,
my Ethereum ETF coin on Solana is blowing up. It's almost like they can hear me right now.
That's funny. We're shilling it from behind the grave or something.
Yeah, like from behind the veil. People aren't going to hear this until it's already gone anyway, but
that is so funny. Like we can't even, it used to be that we would like mention a coin and then we would release the episode 2 weeks later and then people would buy it when we mentioned it 2 weeks after the fact. And then they would still be up another 2 weeks down the line. And now it's like, we say, oh, if we mention this coin, by the time you hear about it, like it will be zero.
Except for Mog. Mog will be in Affinity, so buy Mog.
Mog, Mog is actually unironically sticking around though.
Yeah.
But like the Solana shitters, they're just going to zero in one candle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I don't even feel bad about like mentioning a Solana shitter because I'm like, it'll be dead tomorrow, so I could just talk about it like as a
like I can shill it. That's the other thing is like
anthropology experiment or whatever.
We have this thing where we're sort of like we have PTSD towards mentioning a coin because like if we do, there's always some guy who's like, oh, you're shilling this. Like anytime you talk about something, and it's like I'm not necessarily like trying to shill something just if I talk about it. Like if I usually make it fairly like I'm shilling Mog, right? Like I'm shilling Mog to you right now.
We are shilling it to you right now. So if you like us, then buy. No.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
demonstrate your fealty to Furs and Lucas podcast and buy Mog. That's what. But I don't think that's
buy Mog at a reasonable support level.
It is not a financial advice. It's not financial advice if we're just saying you're demonstrating fealty. I think that like is a different. If you're just like
like that's funny. Like, we're not trying to make you returns. Just buy this to like
show that you're loyal and
our
buy
bags or something.
Exactly. You're just demonstrating that you're part of the Virgin Lucas cabal.
God.
Oh, speaking of Virgin Lucas cabal, I tried a new research chemical, and I can't. And I don't. I'm like, bro. It's like so weak. Fentanyl Bolodart mentioned it, and he clearly doesn't have the levels of ADHD that I do because I'm like putting this fucking weird dropper in my nose, and this shit is so weak. Like I fell, like you saw me fall asleep earlier today. Like I was supposed to record an hour earlier. I took it. I was like, oh wow, I'm about to have a little stimulant, see how it works. I sat down and instantly fell asleep. So it's clearly not that strong. I don't like. I'm like, so I don't know why the fuck I'm even putting it in my nose. Like I feel like coffee was stronger. The little like espresso I just had worked significantly. I mean, maybe it's one of those nootropic. It is a nootropic. It's not like a stimulant. So maybe it's one of those things where like if I'm sitting down and I'm wide awake, it like makes you feel focused. I'm just like, what is this? What is the point? Why am I putting it in my nose? I don't like things, you know?
Wait, you have to drop it in your nose?
Yeah, it's what is it? Yeah, I had to drop it in my nose, which is a very strange method of ingestion.
Everything is so fucking weird now, man.
Yeah, actually, let me just grab this box. I'll tell you what it is. Let's see. You might know something about it.
Is this going to be like C-Max or Atomax or one of the weird Russian bullshits? He's gone.
Let's see. Do you know anything about heptapeptide? Wait, what the fuck?
Heptapeptide.
It's called C-Max.
Yup, I knew this. I literally, when you were leaving, I said it's either going to be C-Max or Atomax.
Yeah, C-Max. So, like, do you know anything about it? Because maybe I'm just doing it wrong. It clearly doesn't give you energy. Maybe is it just like a focus thing?
I don't know, man. He told me that it's like the Russian Soviet equivalent of Adderall, but it's way better and has lower downsides. And I was like, okay, man, I don't believe you. I don't.
It's not. Like I got zero energy from this, and it might be a focus thing. I'm gonna try it again when I'm not tired. It might help with focus, but if it's only focus, I need energy and focus. I'm not.
You need dopamine, is what you need.
I need dopamine. Yeah, that is honestly true. I am chronically low of dopamine. I wish I could just inject it straight into the veins.
You can actually.
Well, yeah, you literally could do that with heroin, but like or cocaine or something. I don't know what pathways meth's on. I feel like Adderall, like, it definitely got my blood pressure high. I can like tell. And definitely if I'm not taking it regularly, I can feel it in my heart for sure. But blood pressure, I can always tell was high. So that I didn't like, but I haven't been on it in like a solid year at this point. And that's not because I didn't want to be. It's because Texas laws are annoying.
Oh, did they make it really hard to get? They also I think they ran out of it. Like I've heard of people getting rationed on their dosages.
Oh, I've been prescribed this entire calendar year, and every time I go to like New York or whatever or someplace to pick it up, they literally do not have any. So there is a Adderall shortage. So like I literally can't find it when I go to New York because I don't go that often, and I guess I go when like a lot of students are there still. I don't know. But in Texas, the way that you have to get it prescribed within Texas to make it work, and I'm getting prescribed out of Texas, so I can't get it imported. It's because it's a scheduled drug. They don't want you get scheduled drugs into.
That seems really retarded.
It's dumb, but it's
like the idea of just not being able to fill up your prescription is kind of like, the fuck, man? Like I thought this was America.
Yeah, you can get it. No, you can get your prescription filled on a lot of other drugs. Like Adderall is specifically scheduled, so you can't do that one. But it's weird because I can literally go down the street right now into a store and get ketamine without a prescription. So it's like, what are you talking about? I can get prescribed there's a store here. I can get prescribed in the store and they will give me prescription strength ketamine. Just like over the counter.
It's really hard to argue that they're not trying to like transition everyone.
They are definitely trying to transition everyone to.
It's like, oh, wow, interesting. So it's impossible to get testosterone anywhere. You can get estrogen everywhere. Oh, you can't get fucking meth, but you can get fucking ketamine, right? Like,
yeah, there's definitely something going on. They're trying to fucking. They're turning everyone trans. They're trying to open up your spiritual, your sacral chakra. I know what's going on.
It's really it is bizarre though in the way that like all the drugs that get legalized are like the gay ones that make you act like a weird pussy like theater kid.
Yeah, because it makes you docile. That's why they like it.
But like, is that literally it? Like, is it just like all of the like Alex Jones tier people are just right?
Yeah, no, I think it's very clearly like just that's it. Like, because if you just look at it again, like the trend is if it makes you more aggressive, more like in one direction is gone, and otherwise, and I think that makes you docile, easy to deal with. Like no one's raging on ketamine. They're sitting in a puddle. They're just like they become a puddle and they want to cuddle. You know what I mean? Smoking weed is cringe and gay. You want to eat food and just sit around all day. You know, like estrogen does similar shit to you. It makes you kind of like docile, increases your neuroticism. You know that's what they like. And I'm sure those will all get legalized. Now we are getting overprescribed. I mean, allegedly overprescribed Adderall, but all of a sudden there's a shortage now. You can't even fucking find it. So
well, we're getting overprescribed in the sense that like the dosages are too high.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about like ADHD as being real or not, or like if we're going to argue that this even matters. Like the idea of arguing that someone's like mental illness is real or not, it just feels stupid when we've gotten to this level of like fabricating mental shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like what is depression, right? Like what it's like, oh, like I got so sad that I like need pills now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a moot point, really. Like there's
it's a chemical imbalance describe the imbalance. You know,
yeah, it's not really false.
But I don't have enough dopamine. No, like what? Tell me when they tested your dopamine, retard. Like this is
real. Yeah. Yeah, there's no like it's not falsifiable. It's not like a real like argument, but it's like ad hoc rationalization. But like,
yeah. So at some point, it's like I kind of don't care if ADHD is real or not because none of the other shit is real. You know, like
exactly.
It's going out of vogue as hell, man. Like,
yeah, people are definitely pushing back on it already. Even like also even the people who were trans are pushing back on it already.
Well, they're like detransitioning, and the left is like running with like the detransitioners as like a genre. You know, they're like talking about the people who like they were betrayed by those crazy libtards, and it's like you are those crazy libtards.
Yeah, you're literally
like,
those people.
You like 2 years ago, but okay. And like, you know, like it is one of those things where it kind of like ends your life. If you decide as a man that you're going to like cut your dick off and start taking estrogen, and then you decide later that you didn't want to do that, like you're kind of done, you know?
I mean, and also with women too. I mean, like that they always like used to like parrot it, like, oh, you could always like reverse it, and like you can't really.
No,
I mean,
none of this, or like, oh, puberty blockers are safe. I don't know, dude.
They don't seem safe to me.
And they like frauded so much of the research around the puberty and hormone blockers and stuff like that to make it like appear as safe as possible. And it still is clearly like fucked up, man. Like you're not supposed to like the idea of blocking puberty in like an adolescent.
I mean, like even if you ignore like the gender part of it, like puberty is like where you like the process that turns you to an adult. Like that's clearly blocking that is a bad idea.
It's like literally like preventing natural biological processes from happening.
Yeah,
because you're worried that they might have this like extremely rare condition you invented 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's like the basic premise was off, but like everyone was retarded for. I mean, not everyone. A lot of people. Most people were fucking stupid as fuck for like a solid few years there.
Well, everyone also got to the point where it's so common now that most people have interacted with some of these people, right? You know, like I had people from my family who like the really funny example that I always use is like, and this was like a very like you know, sort of like, I don't want to say like a Puritan person, but like a very like elegant, poised, graceful person, older, sort of normal views about the world. And then they started talking about like just insane, like degenerate sex stuff and like getting fucked by like truckers and shit, or like sucking cock in a bathroom at this dinner with like the people who were like involved in, you know, like the fairly serious deal of, and all of these like people who had never had like exposure to this group of people all did, and it had like a very negative impact on their like pro-trans beliefs, right? Like they had interacted one-on-one with people who were like kind of like, you know, there's like two types really, I would say, of the male to females, right? There's like the shy, quiet, kind of like very, they keep to themselves, they don't try and like make a big, they're trying to hide really. They're like the Discord socks coder ones, that, you know, that. And then there's some that are like really fucking aggressive and loud and like in your face all the time.
Yeah.
And the dinner had like a lot of those second group that like those weren't normally the ones who came in and talked to the right. So this was like the first time that they got to like meet these people, and they were like, holy fuck.
Yeah. It's when it's conceptual, people can. When it's not like right in front of you, people have a lot. They can do little like conceptual cartwheels and shit. But when you start to like, when you put people in a group, and then like the group, like you start to see, you get the pattern matching in your brain.
Yeah,
like,
especially in university, because like the people who go to these groups of like LGBT groups or like transsexual clubs, they're usually like the worst, you know? Like, the ones who are just going to make you be like, oh, this group needs to be like beep.
College kids.
Like
college kids in general are fucking college groups of all kinds. Speaking of college groups, the fucking protests, like you know, like I don't. Again, I don't. But as a rule of thumb, I do not discuss Palestine and Israel. But I will.
I do now. I do fucking now that I own the Israel coin. I will say the most bloodthirsty, genocidal things about Palestinians purely because I hold. Yeah, I have like $12,000 of Palestine coin or Israel coin.
I'm behind 7 proxies of irony thanks to this game, World PvP. No, but I just remember like I remember like in college, like even then when I was a super mega libtard, I hated like protests and like that whole scene because it's just
the
like,
average person does, you know.
Yeah,
like everyone who's normal, like when you see like a protest that's just like disrupting normal life, you just get like, pissed. You're like, fuck you, dude.
Like you're annoying me.
You're
normal.
Get a job. Fuck you. And it's also, like I don't even have a job, but I'm like screaming, get a job at even these people.
Like I agree with you, but also stop fucking protesting. Also, like it also never understood. Like I never understood like doing campus protests, right? like fundamentally, like who are you protesting? The people who agree with you, right? Like everyone on the college campus, effectively, like 95% of people agree with you. All your professors basically agree with you.
Well,
the people you're around.
This is the other thing with protests.
They never. It's not like you're in.
Like they never. The protest itself never like achieves the goal that they're apparently trying to. Right. It's like when women protest anything, they take off their shirts. Right. And it's like I'm not like going to complain necessarily, but I don't think anybody seriously thinks that like the March for Your Lives or whatever, like you need to take off your shirt to save George Floyd, or like you need to take off your shirt because abortion, or like, you know, like none of it makes any sense. It's just that this is what they do when they protest. And like, it's the same thing with like libtards and just shutting down basic society, right?
You're like I'm trying to get to work, bro.
They're like, I need to make sure that you can't drive to the hospital, and ambulances that are trying to deliver dying people are blocked. Right. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, my God, like, why did the ambulance run over me? The state is evil.
And like, you're just you're like making like we hate you now actively because you're ruining like basic shit.
Yeah. Like I didn't even have a stance on whatever your gay issue was. But now I'm like actively opposed to whatever the fuck you are, man.
Yeah. And I would have agreed with you is the thing, but you're annoying me now. And that's worse.
I wouldn't have really agreed with them, but I would have like nodded my head and like pretended to in conversation. Yeah. Right.
Well, often, like, you know, a lot of the things, like, I mean, even if I don't agree on like an ideological sense, a lot of the points they're making, often, like, pragmatically, I'm like, sure, like, oh, yeah, Israel shouldn't genocide Palestine. Sure. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Like, I don't,
like, you know what I mean? I don't agree with it for the same reason, like, necessarily the same rationale you have. But I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever.
But we're just not invested enough that, like, that's the thing is, like, anyone on either one of these sides could convince me of basically anything, because it's like, anytime you have a big issue like this, there are like compelling arguments on both sides for things. And like, if you don't really care that much about one of the sides, like, you know, like I don't care. So yeah, sure. That's a fine point. I'll agree with you for this next 30 minutes. And then you talk to someone on the other side and it's like, your point is good too, I guess. You know, like people, it's like with the abortion thing, like there's unironically, there's pros and cons. I don't care that much because I can't do anything about it, really.
Weirdly, in life, weirdly enough, there are pros and cons to just about everything. As it turns out, you can't really do anything in atoms without a pro and a con, it turns out.
And I'm not going to no amount of me protesting anything is going to be more valuable than me trying to make enough money that I buy a bunch of retards to go protest for me, you know?
Effectively, yeah. Also, I do think it's like a childhood naivete. There's a reason why we put fucking college students in a fake society away from everybody, because they're annoying. It's just like most of what they're upset about is just like that there are consequences to things that happen. Like they're
not even upset. It's this weird like superficial skinning that they use to do like rhetorical jousting. You know, it's effectively like it's like the grown-up version of the high school breakfast club thing where you have the 8 different cliques like sort of fighting with each other, but now instead of cliques, there are like political or identitarian groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Like instead of goths, you have like the like pro-life people.
Well, I feel like goths would be more like I don't know. It's not a 1-to-1, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that.
I was just about to autistically go off on a tangent, like trying to properly make the fucking function there. The bijective function for which group is what. But anyway. But yeah, it's just like a proxy to
do rhetorical sparring, which like that's why a lot of people go to university, basically, is to like argue and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like fundamentally it was
arguing get laid. That's all it was about. That's all it ever has been about.
Yeah.
That's why they invented Twitter, so you can argue and get laid as an adult. It's the same thing.
I mean, well, and it's better than university for networking too by a fucking substantial amount.
So we brought it full circle. Now we might have figured out why the 37-year-olds are doing their little sex there. They're trying to get laid and argue. They're underfucked. You know, maybe Medgal was right this whole time. We are in an epidemic of underfucked women.
Everyone is like underfucked. Like nobody.
That is true.
It's a very weird point where it's like there are some aspects of like the brain that are like hypersexualized and others that are just like there's nothing, like total neutered eunuch.
Yeah. Weird point in time. Very interesting point in time, but we are in a very strange...
and you're spammed by a bunch of like hypersexual imagery all the time, right? But like, it's not like
but there's no like sexual tension in life anymore.
Yeah, that's been taken away, and there's this like weird, like you're extremely like rung up, but like also desensitized, and a lot of guys just like kind of don't give a shit about like women or sex at all anymore. Like I'm talking to like an increasing, and it's weird because like the higher the net worth of a guy, the less he appears to even like consider women or like think about them at all in his day-to-day life. Like when I'm talking to like young founders and stuff, they're not even like talking about like, oh, that bitch is hot as fuck. Like they straight up don't even know who the bitch is. Like if you were to say like, oh, did you see that girl at that conference who was like staring at you? They would be like, what? Like,
yeah, I don't care.
And they wouldn't even ask. Like, they wouldn't even be like, oh, who was she? What's her Twitter? Like, they just move on. Like, they literally don't give a shit.
The women they've put themselves in this corner by being liabilities, and I don't know, the women have turned dating into like this fucking...
Well, I think all the like successful guys they've gone into like the business sphere of things, and they're just focused on that. They're grind setting, and like there's just not really a role for women in their lives at this point, and like
don't have the time to commit to them.
Yeah, and without the idea of like like I think we finally got to the generation of guys who weren't raised with this like romanticized ideal of like every woman is a princess and like you're gonna have a trad family life and all of this. So when you take that away, and then you take away the fact that like having like a partner actually kind of like and prevents you from...
It does stop you from the grind set.
Yeah, and it's this just bizarre social climate where you have uniquely, for like the first time in history, a group of guys who kind of like don't give a shit about women, despite the fact that like this is like the one immutable thing throughout all of history where like men cared so much about like getting laid that they would like, like that's how we like developed air conditioning. That's how we did fucking everything, right? Yeah. And so there are now men who don't care enough about that one primal driver that all throughout history we had. That like, where the fuck do we go? Like, how can that continue?
It can't continue. That's how you end up with Japan. That's how you get to Japan.
And then you have like these guys who like, they reach the top of it and they're like 32 years old and they have like a 9-figure net worth. And they're like, I guess I should like hire surrogates right now just to like spread my genes. But it's like the weirdest thing. Their conception of it isn't like, I'm going to go have a family to raise them because like the trad, like whatever, I want to have people with me. It's literally just like, I guess my genes have proven themselves worthy of spreading, so I'm going to do it 50 times because otherwise the retards will. Right? Yeah. It's this very like unromantic
it's very
like,
cynical.
Like evolutionary propagation for the sake of propagation without like any love in the game.
Mm-hmm. And it's the game is fucked up right now. That's the problem.
And then you have the people on that same level that you think are like not doing that, and you think that they have like a normal marriage, and then you get closer to them and you realize that their entire marriage is like a political agreement, and they just have these like terms, and like they don't even really talk to each other, and it's just like a PR thing, and you're like, holy fuck.
It's all fucked. It's all I've run into that more times than I've.
You're
like, wait, you're like married, but you're not really
that I fucking talk to now that I thought was like, I'm like, oh, you're like the fucking like trad couple, like you're the only fucking traditional family in crypto. And then he's like, oh, I got some fucking news for you, dude.
Yeah, dude. No, I know like quite a few people I've met recently. They're married. Like they spend like no time with each other. Whatsoever.
And people tell me that this is like something that's been going on for all of history.
It has been, but like you had to be like super upper crust for that. It wasn't like
that's what I was gonna say.
It's like
it was a very rare thing where you're effectively like a king in camouflage, and now it's like this is something that like your average guy who is like a founder at age 22 is like doing.
Yeah, like you have money, but you don't have like that like enough money to be like a fucking in a king political marriage. I was just talking about this literally the other day. It's not even so much that it's the money and time. It's that somewhere in the last, I don't know when it started, but there's no gratitude anymore. Like if like I was
this is
like
so fucking real.
I was like I would give you all this money, all this shit, but like if just for the gratitude, because like I want to do it, right? I like you. I want to do stuff for you, etc. But somewhere along the line, a switch flipped, and women aren't grateful for things anymore. And
they are in other places, but definitely like, you know, especially in crypto, it's insane. We're like, because there's always some like retarded 5'2" manlet who's willing to pay them like $100K to come to dinner with them. So like, that's like what they're comparing everything to.
But I don't even think it goes only up in crypto. But like I think like if you're in any kind of reasonable sized tech,
I was gonna say the tech cities are really
from that point up. It's like there's zero gratitude for any of the things you do. So you're like, why am I doing this? I don't even really like I don't need,
and I don't even
like,
get anything out of it. Is the thing like I don't?
Out of it,
yeah. Like I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense really to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So
like all of society is formed on like this sort of notion of reciprocity, and like I guess everybody kind of forgot why they were doing specific like token cultural things, or like you know, like being grateful, saying thank you, all of this stuff. Like you do it because otherwise they don't give you the thing anymore, right? Like
just like like you don't want to like I don't know, like I'm not doing it for the thank you, but it's very much
it makes
appreciated.
Me hate them though, that they feel that they deserve it all,
that they deserve it without exactly. That's the thing. It makes me resentful. Like, why am I doing this for you? It's just become like, this is like, what am I, your bitch now? I'm doing it because I want to.
And this is the same, like this is like the wife complaint when they're like, oh, like he's never appreciative of the fact that I like empty the dishwasher or something, right? It's just the same thing. I think it's just both.
No, it's literally
genders,
the exact same thing. It's just that there's different like things.
Yeah, like both genders just like I don't know what happened. We hit like a period of like post gender identity or some weird shit where like we dissolved the sexual norms so much that we're now in this weird transitory phase where like everybody does the thing still, I guess, but like they don't like. Because they've stopped being like a gender norm, people don't like thank anyone else for it or show gratitude. Or like another thing is just the way that like when somebody does a thing, you have to thank them for it like immediately for that thing. And people try and do this weird thing where like they say, oh, well, like you paid for this, so like I like brought you this or something later.
Yeah, they try to do like a little quid pro quo thing. Like
but they never like. Yeah, they never like talk about it, right? So it's like everyone has these mental tallies going on, and it's very bad in tech cities, I will say. About like who owes who, like what favor, or like who's buying the drinks tonight, or stuff like that. I don't know. It's like bizarre transactional shit, but people are realizing that you don't necessarily have to like repay them with like something that has transactional value. You can also just appear to genuinely enjoy doing something with someone. And that is also a way to pay them back versus like you emptied the dishwasher, so I did the laundry without ever like discussing this and just assuming that they know that you're expressing your appreciation through like doing the laundry or something.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like with the gratitude thing, I mean, like, I feel like both genders can benefit from this. Like, it's just obviously
I'm fucking horrible at this. I'm extremely bad at this. Every girl who's ever talked to me understands that like, like if they heard this rant, they'd be like, Lucas, you hypocritical fuck. And it's like, like I'm not.
But yeah, we all fail in this capacity. It's just like, I'm very familiar with the way in which women nowadays fail in it, and it gets on my fucking nerves. Which is why I also understand the appeal of just like the business homosexual, as we called it.
The thing that always is fucking weird to me is that like they have the vacation in their head before even having it, and then the thing that they get from the vacation is pictures of them on the vacation that they can like flex doing like things that look like nice and expensive. And like if you ask them about the place, they don't really like learn anything
shit about it. Yeah.
And they just kind of repeat things that they read in like travel blogs or like in like a Pinterest board or something like that. And like this was the thing that I ran into with Lisbon, where everyone was having this totally different experience in Lisbon than me. And then I started talking to, and I found a bunch of other people who were like, yeah, this is insane, because like they're regurgitating stuff from like, I'm assuming like a 2017 article or something, but like it's a fundamentally different city now because it's been used as like this work from home haven that's like changed everything. So you have all these people talking about how like cheap the food is and stuff. And it's like all the places we were going to cost as much as like Dallas, like a normal American city, because all of the work from home people jacked the prices up. So like I would be getting a bill and someone would be telling me, oh my God, it's so cheap. And I would be looking at the bill and it's the same fucking price as in America. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
It's cheap compared to San Francisco or New York City, maybe, but that's
right. Yeah. But it's like, you can't like psyop me. I'm sitting here like looking at the fucking numbers, man. It was the same thing with the hotels. They were like, oh my God, it's so inexpensive. And there was a point where my mom did this and I like pulled up. I pulled up all the like Lisbon hotels. And I was like comparing like a 2-star to a 2-star in like a normal city of like comparable size. And I was like, it's the fucking same.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, that's weird. Well, maybe if we look at another, and it's just
not
like,
weird.
no, they're all the same.
You're getting fucking psyoped. Yeah.
Like there's marginal differences, but like these people are acting like, you don't comment that something is cheap unless it's like substantially cheaper. You don't say like, oh, this is 7% cheaper. That's really remarkable. Like,
yeah, I need like at least 50%. Otherwise, you shut the fuck up. I actually had that experience in Tulum in Mexico. I was like, it's definitely like sort of cheaper, but it's not like noticeably cheaper. Like, I mean, like I can definitely like. No, it's the fact. It's like it's less than 20% cheaper.
It's like, the 179 Coca-Cola is only 159 here. I'm commenting on this. Like, no, you read it on a fucking blog, dude. You're repeating some dumb shit you read on a blog. You would never say this. The price is not big enough of a difference that it would ever prompt you to naturally say this.
I would say when I went to Europe, the cost difference between Austin and Houston was more noticeable than fucking like America to like Spain, and like when the euro was inflating too. Like, it's
and you can tell when you find the things that have changed recently, right? Like Lisbon was a great example of this because Lisbon has recently been changed at like a fundamental level because of all the remote workers who came during COVID, right? So like, when people start repeating things that were true from like 2017 prior to COVID, you can see it instantly because
for sure,
it's not true anymore. And they're saying it anyway. And it doesn't make any sense. Like your brain would never think of that if it wasn't for the fact that like either people have said it to you before or you read it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing, and yeah, you can, if you're the kind of person who thinks for themselves, it's like, oh, that's just really obvious. Like especially when like you are kind of like a person who can see the trend before it comes.
Well, we don't like consume that much media. So when we go places, it's not like colored by all of these weird impressions of like shit you saw on like TV or in some like streamer's backdrop or something. It's just like you're going around and comparing it to whatever you did last, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's effectively what I'm saying. It's like our opinions are from firsthand experience, not being colored by Instagram influencers telling us, like everyone wants to go to Tulum right now, but like I went to Tulum 15 years ago or 10 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. And so like my experience is significantly different. And even then it was already kind of changing. Like the way that they talk about Tulum in 2024 is what it was in 2005. Right. Or like, or that's how it is with Portugal now, but pre and post COVID. Like,
it's the same with all big cities too.
Yeah,
they used to be like, even when I was a kid, they used to be differentiated really heavily in the US. And now all major tech cities have all kind of blended into one, right? Like everyone has like a sense that they're all different, and they are. They're not like exactly the same. There's a different energy, but like the trends and stuff going on, there's not like as much like, oh, this is a unique cultural scene of,
Yeah, like people lament that about Austin. They're like, it used to be like a weird city, and like now it's just like San Francisco, New York City light. And like, yeah, that is the case. That is partially also why I'm here. because
there is something about San Francisco that feels like more substantial than Austin does. Like San Francisco feels like it has like an aura of permanence, whereas Austin feels it has like this spiritual feeling of like that drywall fiber. It just feels like it's like a modern construction that
San
fall
Francisco's
down.
it's an older city. It's sort of like New York has that too, where it's like it feels older.
But like it's older and it somehow has like a newer like soul to it. It's weird, right? Like there's like a youth to it. Whereas like Austin also has that youth, but it doesn't have like the credentialism of that like elder soul aura shit, right? And New York has I would say that like Chicago is a great example of a place that has like that old feeling, the old aura, but like there's the youthful energy is not there. It feels almost sort of dead.
Yeah, I would say so. It's kind of depends on like what I feel like actually LA is sort of like that too, but like LA always felt dead because it's soulless.
LA has just always been like a meme place. To me. I've never gone around enough to like learn LA. I go there when I need to meet with like someone or like go to a thing. And then I go specifically to that thing and then I leave. I do not attempt to experience LA. I likely never will. And it's because this is like the one thing that while I haven't read travel blogs about it, I have heard so many people shit on LA that I effectively have the travel blogs imported into my brain and I'm just not going to care.
Well, here's the thing about LA, which I think is, again, you can tell this by not even going, that like, I could tell that it's been a meme city much longer than people realized it was. Like you could tell it's been a meme city for like 100 years because if you ever walk around LA on like actually walk around
the people everything don't care if you do anything. There's no level of goofiness that causes people to like stop and be like, that's so goofy that I'm noticing it, right?
Yeah, but also like, if you walk downtown LA, like every business is boarded up, like they're like it's just like empty, and then you'll see like a gallery. And like, there's only like the meme areas that exist. Like, if you go outside of the meme like trends, like outside of certain parts, it's just like this whole fucking like expanse is empty, dead businesses that like thought this was a real city. There's like it's not. There's no people there. Is what I'm saying. Anyway, it's like it's just it's a weird place. Like it doesn't have like a real. There's a reason why there's that many homeless there. It's like it's not. It's only it's kept afloat by the meme Hollywood shit.
That's kind of funny. It like I'm starting to see more differentiation even in like random small towns just scattered around. Like that's the only place in America where I'm like there's like actual weird unique vibes, and they're not like good necessarily. Like it might be like, oh, this is clearly like a meth town or something,
or like differentiation though.
Yeah. But like the people there all have like a character, and it's like there's a level of that you can find in like a 5 to like 25,000 person town that doesn't really exist in the big cities. It feels like. And I'm sure there are like sub communities in the big cities that are going to like argue with me over that. But it's definitely a funny feeling. It's like the European village meme.
Yeah, there's definitely like you can find obscure little villages. I mean, even the town I lived in North Carolina was like that. It was like the town next to Chapel Hill, and it was I don't think it's a thing anymore, but it was for a while like a really kooky little place with like co-op grocery store and all this other shit and like weird characters and shit that like felt like you're in like a lost island because just like what the fuck, who are these people, why do they exist?
Like how did they get to be this goofy without being in like like in Austin when someone's being like the character guy, like like okay, you're like basically like an IRL influencer, like you watch on YouTube, you thought it would be like kooky to like wax your mustache or something like that, but when you find it in the middle of like nowhere and there's multiple of them, you're like, this is very weird. This is like a different kind of weird. Because it's like, it's also a LARP clearly, but the motivations for the LARP are much less clear.
Yes, exactly. It's like you're being the LARP around like the same 100 people. So it's like, how did you even end up here?
When he gets older, he won't sound like this anymore, right?